After a year of hard work, my raised bed garden is finally finished, and I'm able to enjoy the fruits and flowers of my labor. Follow along if you'd like to see how I turned my property from this to this. Hey friends, if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Whitney and I'm here to pretty much help you DIY anything. So if you like videos like this, please give it a big thumbs up, consider subscribing and joining the creative journey with me. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through all of the things you need to think about and plan before you even get started on working on your raised bed garden, because there is nothing worse than diving into a project, getting started, not having a plan, and then stopping it or freaking out because you didn't really think the whole entire process through. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. I have so much information to share with you guys. I figured it was best to split this video up into 3 separate videos. This first one, we're going to talk about garden design, planning, and prep. I'm going to talk to you about where I get my seeds, all that kind of stuff. The second video is going to be constructing the raised beds. And then the third video is going to be all about a drip system and irrigation plan. So if you're interested in all of those, make sure you're subscribed. If you just want one or the other, I'll have them all linked below so you can, filter which video is most important to you. Towards the end of the video, I'm going to talk about where I get my seeds, the best seed starting mix and trays, how I organize my seeds, and how I plan my garden schedule. So stay tuned for that at the end. So where you place your beds depends on what you want to grow. If you're unsure, the best place would be in the sunniest spot you can find on your property, like here. For vegetables, the more sun, the better. And if you are planning your garden layout in the winter time, make sure you take into accountability any trees that are on your property, because they're going to leaf out in the spring and summer and create more shade. Now, there's a lot of debate on how to orient your boxes, north, south, or east, west. I oriented them east, west, and I had no issues with them at all. It really kind of depends on your landscape, on trees, fences, even wind. I'm not an expert on this, but I will link a video down below that explains a little bit more about box orientation, if you want to check that out. Now let's talk about bed size. It really depends upon what space you have to work with. The space I have behind me is about a 25-foot by 50-foot plot. So I have room for multiple beds and large beds. I really like 4x8 beds because they're easy to reach across from all sides, and 8 foot is a standard size of lumber. So less cuts, less waste, and who doesn't love that? Now, if you don't have open space like this and you're building up against a fence, I would only make your beds max about 3 feet deep. That way you can reach all the way to the other side when you're just standing on the one side. 4 feet's going to be a little bit too deep for you to reach comfortably. Quick reality check. I decided to go 24 inches high with my raised beds. 2 feet. That's it. It's not that tall, right? Wrong. 2 feet is a lot. I needed so much soil to fill these bad boys. It was insane. I love how it looks. I love the ease of the height. I love the statement it makes in this area, but 2 feet tall is a lot. It's really tall, and you don't think it is, but it really, really, really is. Now let's talk soil. So I have 8 4x8 by 2 foot raised beds. I needed 20 cubic yards of soil. That is 2 full dump trucks full of soil that I've had to hand shovel into all of these beds. Now that's a lot of soil and that's a lot of work. But it was worth it for me because I love the outcome of this. So keep that in mind. I love getting soil from my local landscaper because they deliver it here. It's way more cost effective than going to get bags from your local hardware store. Another great resource is the free compost that a lot of towns offer at the local transfer station. Look into your town and see if they offer compost or wood chips as mulch. It's a really great resource, especially if you're doing something on a mass scale like this. When you're getting soil, make sure you get a nice mix of compost and garden soil, because if you get straight garden soil, it's not going to have enough nutrients in it, and if you get straight compost, it might be a little bit too rich, so it's going to burn your seedlings. So just make sure you get a nice little mix and your plant babies will be happy. When it comes to lumber, your local hardware store isn't always the best option or always the only answer you have. The real gem is to find a local sawmill or a local guy who mills wood in his backyard. This is how I met Chainsaw Bill. The story for another time. Chainsaw Bill now is going to be milling me all of my lumber. In my area, cedar is kind of the gold standard for raised beds, but it can be pretty pricey. So if you're looking for a more affordable alternative, pine is a good option, but pine is a lot softer and it's only going to last a couple of seasons. And this area in the Northeast, hemlock is pretty readily available because there is a borer beetle that's taking out a big hemlock population. So in this area, I can find hemlock for about the same price as pine. And hemlock is a much harder wood, it's sturdier. So if you do have access to hemlock, that is a nice happy medium between cedar and pine at a more affordable price. And you kind of want to steer clear of any pressure treated wood because sometimes pressure treated wood can be treated with chemicals and then those chemicals can leach into your soil. There's some people that say it doesn't, there's some people say that it does. I don't know, but for me, if there is a possibility of harmful chemicals like arsenic being leached into the soil that I'm growing my food, I'm going to stay away from it. So while we're on the topic of lumber, keep in mind that any sort of lumber from a hardware store is not dimensional lumber. So 2x4 is actually 1.5 by 3.5 because each side has been planed by 1/4 inch. If you're ordering your lumber from a sawmill or somebody who is specifically milling it for you, you can have them do dimensional lumber. So it's going to actually be, a 2 inches by 4 inches. So I had these milled to a full 1.5 inches by 8 inches. So they are fully 1.5 by 8 inches and they are sturdy enough to hold all of the soil that goes inside. I know prices fluctuate year to year and area to area, but just so you have a rough idea of prices, I paid $1.25 per board foot. Now keep in mind, board foot is different than linear foot. I paid $1.25 per board foot and I have about $72 worth of lumber for each box. Can you guys believe she's 16? My little old lady. Now that you've planned your garden layout, now is the time to plan your water design. Unless you're into daily watering can workouts, designing some sort of drip irrigation system is going to be your friend. I will cover a complete drip system and irrigation system tutorial and setup and everything in 2 videos from now. But one thing to keep in mind while you're planning is, do you want your irrigation to be inside like this, or do you want it to be run outside? If you want it to be run inside, you have to plan for this before you fill your beds with soil. Another thing you need to plan is what is going to go underneath your raised beds. Are you going on top of grass and you're going to weed whack around? Or are you going full Hamptons winery vibe and doing pea gravel like me? Pea gravel like this is a designer's dream, but there are a few things you need to take into consideration. So let's talk about those now. You're still going to get some weeds, but if you just go through like once a week and pick them out, you'll be fine. You're going to want to add a weed barrier. You can see right here. I have a weed barrier right here that does a really good job of helping keep the weeds out for the most part. I like fabric weed barriers because plastic ones don't do a really good job of draining very well. Then you have stagnant water sitting around and nobody likes stagnant water except for mosquitoes. And you do not want to breed mosquitoes in your garden. Then you can't sit out and enjoy it. Whatever method you decide to do, you need to make sure your ground is level and that your beds are level on all sides as you're building. It doesn't matter if you're going on grass or going on top of pea gravel or whatever, you just need to make sure that these are level on the outset because it's going to be it's going to be a pain in the butt to try to re-level them later on. Now I'll go over this in the actual construction of the boxes, but if you have any sort of burrowing animals, you're going to want to add a hardware cloth like this. Sometimes it's called rabbit hutch mesh, but you're going to want to add that to the bottom of your boxes to prevent any gophers or burrowing animals from going underneath and up into your beautiful new raised beds and eating all of your hard work. I love starting my garden from seed because you have access to so many unique varieties that you can't get at a big box store or your local nursery. You can get really fun, unique things. This year I'm growing 2 different weird tomatoes one is called banana legs and one is called cream sausage. They're both yellow tomatoes. They're delicious. They're super fun. I'm also growing loofah and red noodle beans. Ooh, they're so weird looking. So these are the loofahs. These are actually edible when they're about this size. I think they have to be under 6 inches. But once they grow big, you harvest them, you cure them, they dry out, and then the insides get super fibrous, and that's what you can use as a loofah scrubby. You can get your seeds from anywhere. You don't have to go super fancy schmancy. You can go down, get, the fairy morse one, burpee one, it doesn't matter. But if you're looking for something a little bit more interesting, one of my favorite resources is Am I Gardener here on YouTube. I love supporting a fellow content creator. He has awesome content if you're looking for more garden information. Check his, I'll have all of his stuff linked down below, but I love getting my seeds from him and they're so affordable. I think all the seed packets are $2. I've also purchased seeds from Eden Brothers and Johnny Seeds. Those tend to be a little bit more pricey than the Hudson Valley Seed Company. If you're looking for a seed packet that is like a piece of art itself, check them out. Beautiful. Looking for free seeds, go to your local library. A lot of the time your local library will have a seed library and you can take a few packets. And then also check out the Seed Savers Exchange. That's a really good resource as well. So now once you have all of your seeds, you're going to want to do a little bit of research and see what can and cannot grow together. Some things can be companion planted and they work really well together. Some things not so much. And then from there you can have fun and play and plan out exactly, how you want each bed to be. Do you want one to be just herbs? Do you want one to be just flowers? Do you want one to be tomatoes and basil? You can kind of sketch everything out and move things around. I have done this digitally as well. I'll show you here because I get kind of bored in the winter and I really want to be in the garden. So I go a little bit nutty and I plan things. But you can do it digitally or you can do it just pen and paper. But this will help you think about how many plants you need to start, and it'll also help you not get overwhelmed when it is time to take your plants and put them outside. You'll already have a plan on where they should go, and you're not just planting things willy-nilly. Then they all get big, and then it's a mess. So if you plan ahead and you have some little bit of a structure, then it'll help you when things start to like really ramp up and start to grow pretty fast. You'll already where everything is going to go. When it comes to seed planting, you can do it digitally, or you can do it analog, whatever system is best for you. I've been doing it analog for a long time. What I like to do is do a little bit of research on each of my seeds and bundle them together. So I'll start things that need to be started, 12 weeks before my last frost date indoors, bundle those together, and then, 10 weeks, 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 5 weeks, yada, yada, yada. I did just find this company called the Seed Time app. It's pretty robust program for being free. It kind of helps you plan all of your seeds when you start them indoors, when you transplant them out, when you direct sow outdoors. They did just roll out a new feature of like a garden layout. It is behind a paywall. I'm not affiliated with the company, but it is a really great free online resource that can help you plan all of your seeds. Now for seed starting trays, I'm going to link a couple of my favorites below. I think I am going to make a video on this down the line because I really do want to try soil blocking instead of the seed starting trays and see how that goes. Welcome to my growing station. I got these seeds started about 7 days ago. They are looking quite magnificent. Now these are just a hodgepodge of plasticky containers I've collected over the years. You can germinate seeds in some random ass containers, but you guys, are you kidding me on these? I got these on Amazon and I seeded these not even 48 hours ago and they are already germinated and already sprouted. Are you kidding me? Like, I did these on the 30th. Today is the 1st. It is not April Fool's. This is not a joke. This is incredible. Like, this is the best germination rate I have ever seen. These containers are beyond. If you're going to buy some seed starting containers, buy these. They're linked in my thing. These are the Hacksnacks root trainers. Nothing is germinated just yet, but they are sweet peas. They do take a little bit longer to germinate. I think these are going to work really, really well. But these, holy cow, you can get a pack for like super inexpensive. And like, I've never had this much success. Like, they're perfect. They're perfect. Now that you have a solid foundation for planning your dream garden, I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Tag me over on Instagram. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next 2 videos in this series. And if you're ready for some more DIY inspiration, click on one of these videos here, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!